An issue that created quite a bit of public interest was the Youth Council and a proposal to remunerate or pay them for being on subcommittees and committees and that. It seemed like a decision was made that it would go ahead, but you asked the CEO to go back and work out a few numbers and that. Where is the process at the moment?
So where the process is at, and actually, we just, our youth council has just had their end of year. They'll give the end of year report at our last council meeting next week, and they, can I just say, they're the most extraordinary young people that I've probably ever met in my 7 years as mayor, as a youth council. They're visionary thinkers, and their issue was, when they presented me with the letter, was that they were sitting in our subcommittees, but while they had their voice, they wanted to have a vote on the subcommittees so they could enforce their decision-making powers. And while legally they could do that, and a subcommittee isn't a decision-making committee, it has to go forward to strategy and policy and performance and monitoring for endorsement and adoption. So it's the first level of council doing the in-depth detail of what goes on in our business. So they are on these committees now. And so the opportunity was, how do we get their voice heard and be meaningful for them to sit in 2 hours meetings and being able to meaningfully contribute. Our council, as you know, was mixed, and that means that we need to do a whole lot more work about what is the meaningful way that we can hear the voice of our youth for our district. And so we've gone back and we've done a whole lot of work with our staff to identify how do we get their voice into our core business. So there are 4 outcomes. One will be, when the staff bring an agenda paper to council, we give effect to financial capability, we give effect to our mana whenua partnership, we give effect now to the youth voice. So that means that in their work program, if there's an important item like a bylaw for vape shops, their officers will have to go to the youth council and seek their views and bring that back in a council agenda. So we will give effect to their voice on certain matters, whether it's a joint alcohol policy or, all of these things that we do. So that's one aspect. The other aspect, the chairs of the standing committees will be mentoring the youth council on those committees. So they will be taking them through leadership and mentoring them, and that's never happened before. So, and the other option.
So just to get clear, because it did seem to, because it was quite confusing, the whole process, and I think there maybe was a little bit of backtracking. But is this committees or subcommittees? Because committees, the voting, if they get the vote on committees, that is binding. So you just saying that it would be subcommittees, not committees?
Subcommittees.
Okay.
Subcommittees. So we haven't progressed with the vote. So we haven't progressed with the Youth Council having a vote or being paid. And in fact, they never ever asked to be paid in their letter. That wasn't the officer that works with our democratic support. He said, just to give you an idea, the Youth Council in 2007 were paid to sit on a standing committee. And that was, I didn't know that. And so this wasn't new. So, suddenly things started unfolding as who was paid? Why were they paid? But these young people never expected to be paid. They wanted to be heard rather than just sitting in a meeting, and they wanted to be able to make sure that their voice represented the youth of Hastings. And I said, we have to do better in actually getting their voice across all our work programs, rather than them setting an annual plan, us setting an annual plan. How do we integrate their voice into what we do? So when we make a decision that we're going to borrow money for 25 years, that's going to have huge impact on, their capability to pay intergenerational debt and you know, how do they have a voice in everything we do? So that is the work that will happen next year. And the new Youth Council, they're actually really pleased with what the outcome is. And in life, you know, you don't always get what you want, but as I've said to them, this is never before have we given the youth voice such strong consideration in all our decision making, and that's what I'm, you know, really pleased about.